Awesome. We are good.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, whether you're Zoom, whether you're virtual, whether you watch the recording. We're going to try to record it and edit it in a little bit, get it out to you guys sooner than later. But we really wanted to do this as a live presentation just to give you guys a lot of opportunity to ask questions, get clarification. Brooke's super knowledgeable when it comes to, women's hormones and hormones in general and everything to do with the environment and all that and how everything's kind of correlated and how much it affects women's hormones and hormones in general. So we definitely wanted to bring her on and kind of talk about this topic. And, I know we work with a lot of women here, obviously at Raw, and a lot of you guys have, just based on discussions with your coaches or myself, have had many issues when it comes to, hormones and things that have, stripped you away from being able to, whether it's lose weight or your energy or mood or whatever it may be, it can cause so many different issues or ailments, regardless of your age and everything there. So it's probably one of the most common, Brooke, conversations I've ever had as a coach when I'm working with women. And so I think this is I think it's going to be a fantastic kind of workshop for you guys. So hopefully you guys get the opportunity to ask questions that you have, write them down. If you're on Zoom, put them in the chat. If you joined us on Zoom, we'll kind of give you guys first priority for questions. And then we can go to comments and Facebook if you're on Facebook and, post your comments there or give us any questions that you have along the way and we'll kind of get to those. But, we wanted to put this on for you guys. It's kind of the kickoff to doing more of these conversations with you guys and workshops so we can just educate you, get back to educating you. That's what we do best. That's what we love to do. And we wanted to provide that for you guys. So I know you guys probably have a lot of questions and I know Brooke has a ton of information for you guys to share. She was kind of hitting some of the key points with me earlier and, some of the tips that she has. So I'm super excited to hear more about it and learn more about it. So without further ado, guys, we got Brooke Baccier. She former coach here. She's done a lot of content with us, wellness stuff. She's one of the hosts on our podcast that we do every single week for you guys. So Brooke, super excited to hear more about this, and I'll kick it off to you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first off, I want to apologize that I have a raspy voice. It's allergy season. And I was like, I had my microphone all set up, but we're just going to ahead and go with it. And I've got peppermint all over my face to help with my sinuses. So we are rocking it. But I'm super excited. I'm really excited to come back and do a workshop for you guys here at Raw. I miss seeing a lot of you guys and I miss doing what I love most and educating and just helping people. And this is a specific subject that I would say is my most passionate subject, just through some life experiences that I've gone through and just from talking with other women and even men for that matter, men who have women that their wives, their daughters, their mothers that are struggling. This is a topic that we need to talk more about. And the more and more I've learned about it, the more and more I've studied about it, I made a promise to myself that I was not going to stay quiet about it. Even though it's an uncomfortable conversation, we're just going to rip off the Band-Aid right now and say, yes, we are going to talk about periods. Yes, we are going to talk about all the things. So if you get all weirded out by TMI stuff, like, let's be an adult and let's understand that this is just the body processes. Sorry, Danny. I know you've heard this conversation before. We actually had an entire podcast episode a couple weeks on this, and poor Danny is hearing me talk about all the things, but he's got a daughter, he's got a wife, and I think it's super important that we talk about this. So I first just again wanted to say thank you so much for letting me come on, and I want to go ahead and share my screen with you guys so then we can go ahead and get started. And what's really awesome is this is live on Facebook. So if you want to go back and watch it, if you missed a couple things, or if you want to share it with some friends or family, we're also recording it right now as well. So again, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Ariana made this super cute graphic. I absolutely love it. But live workshop for women's hormones. So for those who don't know me, I am Brooke. Brooke Bacci. I used to be a coach at Raw. I do the podcast with Raw. I've done a lot with Raw in the community, but I just myself, I'm very passionate about wellness, about healing our bodies and taking care of our bodies and using what we were given, whether that be our nutrition, whether that be our exercise, whether that be just anything in life, and using that to help us be the happiest, healthiest versions of ourselves. I specifically love this conversation. I was actually diagnosed with a hormone disorder called PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, about 4 years ago. And with PCOS comes certain things like infertility. You've got painful periods, you have irregular cycles. There's a lot of things that come with it. It's actually, unfortunately, becoming more and more common. But when I started understanding what was going on in my body, why my periods were all over the place, why I, was gaining weight in a certain area of my body, why I had all these like whiskers all over my face, when I started understanding it and studying hormones, like I had said, it just became a goal of mine to educate other people and let people know that you can control your hormones naturally. I am not here to judge. I am not here to bad talk. I am not here to tell anyone what they should and should not do when it comes to hormones, for example, like synthetic hormones, like birth control, synthetic medications. But I will say my passion is healing the body naturally. And I do believe in my heart and soul that we can heal our hormones and we can regulate our hormones naturally without synthetics. We don't need to, as 12-year-old daughters, need to be put on birth control for cystic acne. We don't need to be put on birth control when we are 15 because we have extremely painful periods. There's a reason for all of those things. Really, truly, there's a reason why, as a society, women's hormones are all over the place. And so we're here to talk about that today. So kind of jumped ahead, but painful periods, irritability, low libido, bloating, hormonal acne, all the things that come with periods are not normal. Unfortunately, we've normalized these things. We've normalized the cramps. We've normalized the heavy flows. We've normalized, especially in, women in the menopausal age, like not having libido, vaginal dryness. Again, we're talking about the things today. But we've normalized those things because we think, oh, that's just a part of it. You get your period, you're absolutely miserable. Like you don't even want to leave your house. Guys, I see my mom's on the live and she probably could vouch for this. Like I remember in high school, no joke, wearing a pad, a tampon, shorts, and sweatpants because my period was so heavy that I would bleed through everything. That is not normal. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh wow, like I have just insane periods. My daughter has crazy periods. If you're listening to this thinking that, it's very, very, very likely that there's things that you're doing in your life that is causing your hormones to just get thrown out of whack. And again, these are not normal. The occasional things, right? Like occasional light cramps is normal, right? Occasional bloating. Like I am not here to say that you are not going to feel any of these things ever. Like that would be a wonderful world, but we're going to feel those things, but it shouldn't be insane. So I want to talk about that today. So let's talk hormones, okay? The first thing I really want to get into is talking about the cycle. When we talk about hormones, especially women's hormones, we need to understand the cycle. If you don't fully understand the cycle, you will not know how to support your hormones. And this is something that so many people do not understand. Whether you are at the age where you still have your cycle, or you have a daughter who has a cycle, or whether you are getting out of your cycle going into menopause, this is important to know. And the most important thing to understand is it does not matter if you want to have a child. Your body tries to do that every single month. Okay. Your body, from the day you start your period, however old you are, 12, 13, like however old you are when you start your period, that is the cycle of your body every single time you bleed, every single time you go through your cycle. Your body is actually trying to get pregnant. While yes, obviously at 12 years old, most, people are, young girls are not trying to get pregnant, right? Your body still is trying to do that. That is what the cycle is. And if you can understand that the cycle is not just 5-ish days of bleeding, you can take control of your hormones so much, and it's truly incredible. So let's break down the cycle and really talk about what exactly the cycle is Because if you can understand how it works, you can take control of it. So, number one, menstruation, and I think I might have spelled that wrong. But menstruation is what we know of as our cycle. Like the average person thinks the period is the women's hormone cycle, and that's that, which is a part of the cycle, but it's really one quarter part of the cycle. When you are menstruating, essentially what is happening is this is the day one of your cycle. So if you understand how the cycle works, that first day you bleed starts over at day one. And I like to kind of go backwards when talking about menstruation. So, why do we bleed? Why are we bleeding? Basically, what happens is in the phases, which we're going to get into, your body releases eggs every single month to try to be fertilized. Again, you might not want to get pregnant, but your body tries every single month. Your body releases an egg. If it fails to be fertilized by sperm, it will essentially shed. Your body is going to do some things, which we're going to talk about. And when your body realizes it's not fertilized, your body sheds. And that is what the bleeding is. So essentially, when your uterine lining thickens, it's called the corpus luteum. And this basically, when your body realizes you are not pregnant, it sheds, and it's blood, it's mucus, it's actually different types of tissues that your body is shedding. During this phase is when your hormones are the lowest. There is a legitimate reason why we feel blah, why we feel low energy, why we feel tired. I like to consider this as your inner winter. You can kind of see my little arrow pointing to the snowflake. Your menstrual cycle, when you are bleeding, you are in your inner winter. You're kind of hibernating. You're not that creative. You have very low energy levels. It's because all of your hormones drop. They come out of the luteal phase, which we're going to kind of go into, and then this will all make sense. But when your body realizes you're not pregnant, all your hormones completely drop, and that's why we get so blah during our period. What happens then after this? So, okay, our body sheds. Okay, now guess what? Our body is preparing to get pregnant. So, what happens? We go to the follicular phase. So, on average, the menstrual phase is anywhere from 3 to 7 days. So, essentially, when your body has finished shedding that uterine lining, you go into your follicular phase. And what happens in this phase is you are born, all of us women are actually born with all of the eggs that we will ever have. We're in utero, we have all the eggs you'll ever have. But basically, what happens is every single month after you're basically got off your period, your body and where your follicles house all of your eggs, around 11 to 20 eggs begin to develop, and then one will mature completely. So during this time, your body is getting ready to choose one special egg to release it. All right. And then that egg gets released, and we're going to talk about what happens there. But here, what happens is estrogen and testosterone start to rise. Why? Because of the process of trying to release the egg and to mature the egg. Lots of things are happening. So during this time, I like to consider our inner spring. You start to have more energy. You start to actually have more brain power. This is a really great time to actually problem solve because you get very creative. And your body's really trying to basically pick one egg. In the very, very rare cases of twins, for example, you might release two eggs. But most of the time, you are releasing one egg, and that is this process, the follicular phase. So this starts basically after your menstrual cycle, or sorry, your period, and that ranges anywhere from 14 to 21 days in the healthy ranges. So then we build up to really truly like the fireworks of your cycle, ovulation. Ovulation is when, if you ever feel like every single month, there's just a time of the month where you have so much energy, you feel sexy. Like there is actually, this is crazy. I learned this. The women's jawline becomes more attractive during ovulation. Your body's actually trying as hard as it can to attract a mate and to attract, because again, your body is trying to get pregnant, even if you are not. So, what happens in ovulation is once your body has a matured egg, remember, we have about 11 to 20 that attempt to mature, one of them is matured and it gets released. Luteinizing hormone is one of the hormones, and that triggers the egg to release. And basically, then it goes down the fallopian tubes, and this is actually only about a 24 to 36-hour process, ovulation. But that is when the body is releasing the egg in hopes to get fertilized. Now, it's important to note that eggs only survive about 24 at max 36 hours. So, this is a very, very short part of your cycle. Some people actually don't really consider this a phase, they kind of consider it an event. But it's important to note that during ovulation, estrogen and testosterone are peaked, right? So in the last phase, the follicular phase, estrogen and testosterone are starting to rise. Here, estrogen and testosterone are peaked. They are at the highest they will be throughout your cycle or your month-long cycle. Progesterone also starts to rise here, because what progesterone does is progesterone helps to thicken the uterine lining. The progesterone's job is to help house this egg that's fertilized and then hopefully implant to create pregnancy. Again, this is all going back to your body is trying to get pregnant. Progesterone helps with pregnancy, right? So if you can understand and not just be like, I don't want to get pregnant, I'm not, like, you can actually go, okay, my body, I just got to support my body through these phases. Obviously, understanding these phases can also be a form of abstinence as, or a form of, birth control as well. But it's important to know all these things. So again, ovulation, you are like your inner summer, you are high energy, high focus, you have a great mood, you're very social. Again, your body makes physical changes. So you are the most attractive during ovulation. It's wild. Then what happens is your luteal phase. Now, I always like to ask this question. The couple weeks, maybe like not even couple, 1 week before your period is supposed to start, who gets like so irritable with their husbands, like they can breathe, and you're just like, oh my gosh, why are you breathing? Right? Like the luteal phase is actually the phase where you get the most PMS symptoms. And the reason for that is progesterone. Progesterone causes a lot of these PMS symptoms, the cramps, the bloating, the irritability, the mood fluctuations. That's because what's happening in the luteal phase is your egg has traveled down the fallopian tube in hopes to be fertilized. Your body doesn't understand if it gets fertilized until about midway through your luteal phase. So usually, if you were to get pregnant, you were to implant, right? That would be actually around, the average is about 8 to 9 days following the egg being released. So during those times, your body thinks and is hoping to get pregnant. Your body builds up what's called the corpus luteum. This is the uterine lining that is produced by progesterone. And basically, it's creating this like thicker space for the egg to basically implant into for pregnancy. What happens then is towards the end of that cycle, when your body realizes, okay, the egg wasn't fertilized, then what happens is all your hormones drop, because your body realizes, okay, there's no egg to be fertilized, there's no pregnancy to be happened, so everything drops. Your progesterone drops, your estrogen drops, your testosterone drops, and basically it all completely drops, and then until your body sheds that uterine lining, which is going to your menstrual cycle. It's basically starting back over with your bleeding. Again, the luteal phase I like to think of as your inner fall. You tend to get a lot lower energy levels, because that progesterone is typically a trigger for low energy and irritability, and moody. You're the most sensitive actually before your cycle. I talk to so many women who are like, yeah, I don't really feel actually anything on my period. It's like leading up to it. And that's actually normal, right? It's normal when your body is not understanding all the levels of progesterone and it's trying to manage them. And then when your body realizes, like, okay, we don't need any of these hormones. There's no egg that is going to, result in a pregnancy. Then all your hormones drop, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then you bleed, and we start over. And that phase happens literally every single month for until you go into menopause. So again, it's so important to understand the cycle, to understand why our body does what it does, what our hormones are like in each phase to then support them through it, right? When you are starting coming out of your period, when you are going into that follicular phase and you have the energy, like support that energy. And I think it's also really important to like work out according to your cycles. When you're actually on your period, when you're in menstruation, it's actually good to slow down, to do yoga, to do things like just light, brisk walks. And the reason being is because you don't have the energy like you do when you're ovulating. When you're ovulating, you should be doing all the HIIT workouts. You should be trying to PR all your back squats, right? But when you are in your, like, towards the end of your luteal phase, when all your hormones drop, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're not going to be as successful with your performance as you would during ovulation. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So then basically what happens in menopause is your body begins to stop the natural process of releasing eggs in hopes to be fertilized. Your body has basically hit the age where no more pregnancy is meant to happen. Your body is basically releasing, and with that, all of your hormones begin to decrease. Obviously, you don't need progesterone anymore because progesterone is basically known as the pregnancy hormone. You don't need that anymore. Your estrogen levels decrease. And this is what causes so many uncomfortable symptoms as your body tries to regulate. Menopause includes perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So obviously, if you're familiar with menopause, you might sit there and think that menopause is just when you are not getting cycles anymore. There's actually a whole different world to that. About 5 years before your actual period stops, you go into perimenopause. So basically pre-menopause. So your cycle might start to go a little bit longer. Like you might go from usually 32 days to, I don't know, say 60 days, and it might come and go, and you might only get a couple cycles a year, and it slowly works that process, and that's normal. But again, what's not normal is these crazy symptoms like super low libido, these insane hot flashes where you can't even function. That is not normal, and so we're going to talk about that. So I first want to hit on how to support your hormones naturally. This goes for whether you are in menopausal or you have a cycle. I think it's important to first talk about how we can support our hormones naturally. So some of the things that I recommend, these are all very easy, so to speak, and a lot of these are very free methods. One of the worst things that you can actually do for your hormones is drink coffee before you eat food. All right. This goes to if you have a cycle or if you're in menopause, drinking coffee before you eat food is destroying your hormones. It's raising your cortisol levels, which is a hormone that affects the rest of your hormones. Coffee after food is coffee after food is what you want to do. Coffee before food is a no. If you really must have coffee before food, make sure you have some substance in it. Put a fat in it, put some protein in it, like MCT oil, protein powders, things like that. Some milk, something of more substance aside from the caffeine. And with that, another thing that actually does destroy your hormones is fasted workouts. It's kind of over here to the right if you're looking at this, but I want to talk about these at the same time because fasted workouts also can destroy your hormones. So if you are one that wakes up and goes to the gym on an empty stomach, that's me literally always. I am the queen of working out on an empty stomach. But as I have really been trying to not do that, my hormones have greatly improved. So if you have to, as simple as grab a banana on your way to the gym, or have something light so you're not working on an empty stomach, because what happens is when your body doesn't have fuel, yes, there's some thoughts of like fasted workouts, you're burning, you're burning a certain type of fat versus, the fuel of carbohydrates. You're actually activating certain hormones in your body that you don't want to be activated because of not having food in your system. So that's a really great way to support your hormones naturally. Eating breakfast. I know so many people who skip breakfast in itself. Obviously, that goes in with the coffee and the fasted workouts, but make sure you're eating a breakfast, a protein filled breakfast. Don't wake up and eat a bunch of sugar. Don't wake up and eat a bunch of carbs. We talk about it all the time, me and Danny on our podcast. Make sure you have protein with every time you eat a carb. But if there's one thing I can share that will help your hormones, it's eat breakfast. Another thing I want to hit on that is something that I see that is probably the most common for why women are struggling with our hormones is the xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens are fake estrogens. Fake estrogens are everywhere, from in our cleaning products to our perfumes, to our shampoos and conditioners, to our lotions, to our makeup. They are everywhere. And the problem with this is what they do is they're fake estrogens. So your body thinks that you have estrogen, so it's not producing the natural estrogen. And because of that, when your estrogen falls, your progesterone also falls. And that's what causes a lot of problems. If you are listening to this and you have a daughter or you yourself have very, very painful periods, have very heavy flows, I guarantee you cutting out xenoestrogens will provide some natural relief. This is one of the biggest things with supporting your hormones naturally is getting rid of those xenoestrogens. Looking for things like phthalates, parabens, and the word fragrance on all your ingredients. These are really important things to look out for. These are your xenoestrogens. With that comes the other one of ditching plastic. Plastic, especially if you put your food like to goes and you heat the plastic up in the microwave to eat it, it's then being absorbed into your food. Plastic is very, very harmful to our hormones. So if you are consuming anything, let's say water, make sure you are using it in glass or a stainless steel mug, no plastic. Food, making sure we're storing our food in glass Tupperware versus plastic. Another one that's crazy that people don't realize is receipts. The receipts that you get at the grocery store, at any stores, when they print a receipt, it's called the forever chemicals. There is a chemical on receipts, BPAs, but it actually gets stuck into our bodies and it's forever, it won't leave. So receipts are actually one of the most toxic BPA infused. It's so crazy to think about that, especially if you touch it with wet hands or after having hand sanitizer on. So ask for it to get emailed or don't even take the receipt if you can. This is really, really hard for your hormones to handle. Some other ones, eliminating toxins daily. If you are not having regular bowel movements, if you are not going 1 to 2 times a day at least, you are storing that estrogen in your body. Your body is meant to filter the xenoestrogens. Your body is meant to filter the progesterone. Your body is meant to filter, but obviously if you aren't excreting them through our bowel movements, it gets stuck and then it can affect things like our liver. It can affect our hormones. So making sure that you are eliminating toxins daily. If you are not doing that, this is something that you can talk, I'm sure, with a coach on, of getting you a good quality gut health supporting product like a probiotic, a prebiotic, making sure you're eating fiber rich foods. These are really, really great for helping you go to the bathroom. Avoiding processed foods. Processed foods are unnatural. Our body was not designed to consume them. Our bodies were not designed to have to break them down, and so they can affect your hormones. Filtered water. This one is so important. If you drink tap water, I challenge you to look up the ingredient or look up what's in our tap water. Yes, we know about the Flint water crisis, but it should be a water crisis everywhere when it comes to tap water. You need to be filtering your tap water. There is so much toxic things. One of the most common that actually people don't understand is pharmaceuticals and birth control is in our filtered water. from it being disposed, it flushed down the toilet, being thrown away, it goes into the runoff and it gets into our tap water. So if you're sitting there like, I don't take birth control, I don't use synthetic, hormones, and I'm still thrown off, you actually might be consuming that in your tap water. So making sure that you are filtering your water, making sure you're eating a protein rich diet. We talk about this all the time on the podcast, making sure you're consuming protein, making sure you are sleeping. This one is super important. If you are not getting proper sleep, your cortisol and melatonin levels get thrown off, and that can affect your cycles. So making sure that you are getting sleep, saying no to seed oils. We've got some podcast episodes on this one. Seed oils, these are your vegetable oils like canola oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil. These are not natural. These are actually made with industrial products that destroy our hormones because they're xenoestrogens. They mimic hormones and they just do a lot of harm to your body. And then the last couple things I want to just touch on is movement. Obviously, I know you guys are all working out at Raw, so I know you guys are doing that, but make sure, even if you aren't getting to the gym, go for a walk, get outside. 30 minutes of movement every single day will really help because movement helps you filter. Movement helps you move things around. So that's important. And then sunshine upon waking, If our body is laying in bed, playing on our phones, scrolling social media for 30 minutes before you get up, your body isn't releasing the right hormones because your body doesn't realize it's morning time. So one of the best things that you can do when you wake up is wake up, open your blinds, like look at the sun. If you can, step outside. Like this will regulate your hormones so much. Something I try to do is, my husband works night, so it's really hard for me to wake up and open my blinds. So I just get up. I'll try to, like, obviously the weather's getting nice, I'll try to eat my breakfast outside, or I'll wake up and even if you want to do your scrolling, so be it, go outside and do it. Getting outside, super, super important. So hopefully this was helpful when we talk about supporting your hormones naturally. Does anybody have questions? I'm going to quickly look through Facebook. We're good on questions. I just want to make sure I'm hitting on questions. Okay, don't see any. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them as we go through. So these are some ways you can support your hormones naturally. Like I said, I'm all about trying to do things naturally. If you yourself recognize that you have all over the place hormones, or if your daughter or someone that you know has hormones all over the place, these are really simple, cheap, and easy ways that you can support your hormones. And when you support your hormones, so many great things happen. You can lose weight faster. You have more energy levels. You're just an overall better person because your hormones are regulated. Super, super important to do that. But we're really excited to bring something to Raw that can support your hormones naturally. Yes, doing all these other things will be icing on the cake, but if you know Raw, you know our mission. It's really important to us that we have good quality products, and really important to us that we have clean products. And there has been a launch of a revolutionary women's hormone product that is going to change the game for women's hormones, one specifically for women in their cycles and one specifically for women in menopause. And we are so excited to bring that to Raw as one of our supplement options for you guys. Obviously, I don't meet with you guys, but I know a lot of the coaches. I talk to Danny a lot. He said something that's very common is that hormones is affecting a lot of your guys' weight loss journeys, a lot of your guys' energy levels, a lot of the way you guys are filtering, or I don't want to say filtering your food, but how you are fueling from your food. And so while it would be a wonderful world if we could do some things naturally, to support our hormones, we sometimes need some help, especially in the world that we live in, where we are surrounded by toxic environmental toxins like xenoestrogens, going out to restaurants, seed oils, things like that. So we have a brand new product, again, coming to Raw that is all natural, hormone-free, soy isoflavone-free for women that are in their menopause. You might be familiar with soy isoflavones. That's actually a very common natural so to speak. People call it natural supplement for menopause. That's actually really, really harmful for your cardiovascular health, and it's not natural. It's an unnatural version. So while that's technically, they say it's synthetic free, it's not fake hormone free. So we're really excited to have a product that not only is clean, is considered a nutraceutical, which means it's not even just a supplement. It's a nutraceutical because it's gone through clinical studies. It's gone through 5 years of clinical trials. So these clinical trials have actually been proven to, for menstruating women, help to support cramps, fatigue, bloating, digestive upset, food cravings, low libido, congested skin, PMS, and sore breasts. And it's been clinically proven for menopausal women to reduce hot flashes, night sweats, trouble sleeping, brain fog, low libido, which is low sex drive, vaginal dryness, dry skin and nails, and cardiovascular changes. And what's really important about this science is it works with the body. It's intuitive nutrition that works synergistically with how our body is versus saying, okay, here's a pill that you take and it'll help your body. It actually works through our cycles. And that's why I think it's very important to understand our cycles when we talk about these products. So the first one I want to talk about is OVA. So OVA is, I don't know if you guys can kind of see me in the corner, but OVA is actually what's called the menstrual formula. This is specifically designed for women in their cycles. And why it looks like this is because it's not a one size fit all supplement. It's not a supplement that you take the same supplement every single day and it helps your hormones. And the reason being for that, as I just talked about, we have different cycles, we have different phases that we go through. And through those phases, we have different needs. When we are going through our quote unquote period, when we are in the beginning of our cycle, we have different needs because you have the low energy, you have shed basically a lining of your body that you created. You have so many different things that you need to focus on. So what's incredible about the science behind this product is there's 3 different formulas that you take during your cycle or during your phases. So there's a formula for your menstrual phase, there's a formula for your follicular phase, and there's a formula for your luteal phase because you have needs in each of those phases. So the first phase is the menstrual phase. When you are on your cycle, you take formula 1 days 1 through 4. So there's 4 capsules, there's four supplements that you take, one every single day when you are on your period. Some key ingredients, all natural. These are all natural ingredients, vitamins and minerals, magnesium, copper, I don't even know how to pronounce that, niacinamide, clove, cranberry, ginger, peppermint sage, CoQ10. What have these been proven to do during this phase? It's been proven to help relieve cramps, help ease bloating, promote clear looking skin, support energy levels, support iron metabolism, support your liver, support healthy blood flow, your urinary tract, and antioxidant capacity. Incredible stuff here. Then we have formula number 2. So this is what you take during your follicular phase. This is when your body is working to mature an egg to be released. This is taken days 5 through 16. You take this through your, so again, you're taking a completely different product, a completely different formula. It's got theocrine, highly bioavailable iron, iodine, inositol, maca, broccoli, keratin, and this has been proven to support your hormones leading up to ovulation, improve your feelings of well-being, support healthy libido. And it's, during this phase, it's the most important, right? Because your body is working to get a fertilized egg. So while, again, you might not want that egg to get fertilized, if you go against what the body is trying to do, so if you are trying to, ruin your libido, if you're trying to not do these things, if you're not supporting it, you're actually affecting your hormones. So you want to support it, even if you don't want certain things to happen, you want to support them. Supports mental clarity, supports thyroid health, helps promote iron absorption, and supports antioxidant capacity. And then the final formula, this is what you take after ovulation, so during your luteal phase, basically days 17 up until you get your next cycle, and then you start at day one with Formula One. And this has ginger, saffron, chasteberry. Chasteberry is one of the best herbs that supports your natural progesterone levels. And again, we want to support progesterone. Zinc, black pepper extract. This formula is my personal favorite because I have almost completely gotten rid of all of my PMS symptoms, the discomfort coming with PMS. This helps to enhance the absorption of nutrients before menstruation. It helps to support a healthy inflammatory response, supports the endocannabinoid system, helps get clearer skin. Because this is the phase where we start to break out in acne. So it's important to support that. It helps to reduce the occasional stress that we get, helps to support energy levels and antioxidant capacity. So this is what's called OVA. This is our menstrual product. Then we have OVA M. So OVA M is the menopausal product. Now, does not have this pretty little look because there's only one formula. Because obviously when you're in menopause, you don't have different cycles. So you don't have as many needs during each phase. So it's a general supplement that you take 2 capsules every single day. But what makes it unique is it's all natural. There is not a menopausal product on the market that's so clean without soy isoflavones that does not have hormones. I know a lot of menopausal women get like this hormone shot and get a lot of these things which are synthetic, which is unnatural to the body. So this has a very unique estrogen 100 complex. This is something that the company actually clinically studied and put together, which is unique to them. They've got olive oil extract, sage extract, and this is the product. I mean, OVA, I take OVA. Obviously, I'm in my menstrual phases and times, so I'm loving OVA, but the feedback I'm getting from OVA M is the feedback from both is great, but OVA M is just incredible. I'm having women tell me that they have reduced their hot flashes so much, night sweats. It's been proven to reduce vaginal dryness. It's been proven to support your libido, support your sleep health, your cognitive health, cardiovascular health, menopausal age, and the time during menopause. Actually, you are most at risk for cardiovascular issues because of the change of hormones. So it's important to make sure you're supporting your cardiovascular health as well, supporting energy and moods and our energy levels and mood. So basically, again, we have these available to you guys at the gym now. OVA and OVA M, if you are interested, you can actually just hold your phone up right here and scan. If you are wanting to try this, over on the left is OVA, over on the right is OVA M. Unfortunately, OVA M just went out of stock like a couple days ago. The company let me know that it should be back next week. But if you are wanting to get on the wait list for this, as soon as it goes back in stock, we can let you know. So I put a number 248-877-4180. If you just text OVA M to that number, I will go ahead and let you know as soon as it comes back in stock to get it. We'll also have this available at the gym. I believe Danny said he's got about 3 OVA M's at the gym at Washington. So if you are wanting it like right now, you can buy it at the gym. But we are doing more of a drop ship method with this just because it's easier for you guys, especially because this is a more routine monthly product that you should be taking every single month on top of your multivitamins. This is not in replace of a multivitamin. This is not in replace of anything like that. This is just something to add and support your hormones. So with that, I want to open it up to questions. I'm looking through the Facebook to see if we have any questions. And Lisa, I'm at 10 years into menopause and my hair is thinning more and more each year. Any suggestions? Probably, honestly, one of the biggest things that you can do is, number one, support your hormones. I know that sounds like so, we just talked about all that, but really, truly, if you can support your hormones through that. Another thing that actually comes with the thinning of hair is actually our collagen content. Your body naturally stops producing collagen around your mid-20s and it steadily declines from there. So a good collagen supplement would be great. Bone broth, that's a natural collagen that you you can consume. So I actually cook bone broth, and like, so if I make rice or quinoa or things like that, rather than boiling water to put the rice in, I actually boil bone broth to put it in. So that's an option as well. Really stimulating your hair follicles would be good too. So like actual scalp massages is really helpful. Rosemary is an herb that's really great for that as well. But again, supporting the hormones, especially if it's hormone related hair loss, is super important. So, a lot of the natural things that I had shared that you can go ahead and do, I think would be very helpful. And really making sure, also water intake, guys, like making sure you're drinking enough water, that helps with your hair as well. There's a saying that I truly believe in my heart and soul, but when we like talk about a dog, right? The vet can determine the dog's health from their coat, right? They'll say, "Oh, their coat looks great. They're super healthy." The same idea with humans, right? If we have thin, like frail, falling out hair, we've got some things going on internally. So whether that be your hormones are thrown off, your gut microbiome is thrown off, so those are all things to support to reflect into the hair. So I hope that answered your question, Lisa. Any other questions that we have? Again, we will be having these at the gym now, so we're super excited. So if you want to, we've got some flyers. If you want to ask me questions even outside of this, you're welcome to shoot me a message or even ask the question in the Facebook group. You're absolutely welcome to do that. But we will have these in the gym. We'll have some more flyers with a little bit more education on there. If you want to check it out, feel free to ask a coach or someone at the gym for more information. But I think this is going to be a really great product for you guys, because again, we are hearing a lot of the coaches are hearing you guys saying that you're struggling with your hormones and that's affecting your weight loss goals. So, these supplements are great, but again, I will always share the natural free things that you can do. So again, if you did not take a picture of this slide, where is this slide? Right here. Like, this is a really great thing to take note of. These are all easy, free things that you can do to support your hormones. So again, thank you guys so much. I have a little thank you slide. It's been such an honor to come back and hang out with you guys, and I'm always here for questions. So if I did not get one of your questions answered, or if you just didn't want to maybe ask the question, I'm an open book. I will happily try to talk about anything that I can with you guys. So thank you all so very much, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.